Well, I could give two shits about Shelton Benjamin. I don't give a fuck about the Big Show, and I couldn't care less about any WWE World Cup tournament. So that shows you where this review is headed. But the past couple of months at least, SmackDown has been putting together good shows more often than they put together a shitty show. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to start off with 3 positives from last night, and then I'm going to totally explode on this show. And talk about the bullshit and the nonsensical fucking garbage that they put together last night. But again, I'm going to start with the positives, right? Be more positive, BC. A little bit more positivity, BC. What about the good things, BC? So for you subscribers that really want me to be positive on this show, and for the stalkers out there that won't push the subscriber button, but you'll type in my fucking name every morning with your orange juice in your fucking bowl of cereal, your little fucking tricks are for kids, or your Lucky Charms, your Frosted fucking Flakes, your Cookie Crisp. You got your little fucking orange juice that mommy poured you, and you're typing in BC Amplified. When if you were subscribed and you smashed the notification bell, you would be notified and you wouldn't look like a fucking stalker and a creep like Aiden English. But even for the creepers out there that want to type in my name and not subscribe, for you that want me to be positive, I'm going to start with 3 positives last night. How's that? And then you can go about your day while the rest of us spit truth and drop facts. But let's start with the positives. And that's right off the bat. Charlotte, Becky, Lynch, they kick off SmackDown. And I mean kick off. There was no fucking entrances. There was no Paige setting up the match or explaining in depth why it's a no disqualification for Becky Lynch, or should I say if Becky Lynch gets disqualified, she loses the championship. This was just literally SmackDown goes on the air and the referee is holding up the SmackDown Women's Championship. The bell rings and we're on our way. And the reason, guys, is because the same time SmackDown was going live here on the East Coast, you had the Yankees Red Sox in the Bronx kicking off as well. This was an elimination game because if the Yankees lose that game last night, they are out of the playoffs. And of course, in typical Yankee fashion, because we've had no consistency all year, we got eliminated. Because we look like a bunch of fucking little leaguers out there. But thank you for the memories, Yankees, of the season. It's been a long 7+ month journey. And we'll try it again next year. As for the Red Sox, I hope you get fucking destroyed by the fucking Astros. How's that? How's that for good sportsmanship? I hope you get fucked up. But anyway, that's why Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch were literally just kicking this thing off in a 20-minute match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's because Vince knew a big chunk of that audience was going to watch that Yankee Red Sox game. You're talking about 2 huge markets, the Boston market and the New York market. And usually when you have 2 huge markets colliding, all the other major outlets and markets are also going to tune in. That means LA, Miami, Houston, Chicago. Vince knew he was fucked. So he kicks off with a women's championship match. And as much as this was definitely sloppy the first 10 to 15 minutes, the last 5 to 7 minutes of this match, they slowed it down and they started telling more of a story emotionally in there. Mannerisms, all that good stuff, man. Facial expressions really started to come out with Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch selling every little bit that she was getting dropped on her fucking dome piece. Everything looked legit. Everything looked realistic, believable. Everything slowed down and we got to enjoy it more. The first 10 to 15 minutes, you could tell that they were going at such a fast pace and trying to overdo it. So I commend them and I thank them for trying to give us even more than they've already given us in previous matches. But sometimes a fast pace doesn't necessarily mean a better pace or a better match. We saw that last night. It actually became sloppy with the 2. When they slowed it down and told their story more, it became much better. Unfortunately, that was the last fourth of the match, but at least we got that. But most of that match was absolutely sloppy. But again, the ending of that match ended perfectly the way it needed to. Just like I said at Super Showdown, where Becky Lynch was in the figure 8 and she used a strap to disqualify herself. That was beautiful because we knew they wanted an Evolution match. So how do you get these two performers into Evolution? How do you tell that story? You got out of Super Showdown with a disqualification. I liked it. Then they announced this match for SmackDown, and I'm thinking, how the hell are you going to get out of this and still keep everyone intrigued for Evolution? They did it perfectly. A 20-minute match ending in a double countout, but the war continued. They still started beating each other up the rampway. Until at one moment, Becky Lynch went to turn around at the top of the rampway. Charlotte Flair comes charging with a spear through Becky Lynch and through the LED lighting boards. Up underneath the Tron. It was fucking badass. That's the shit we want to see with, like, the men. That's what we want to see Braun Strowman do to, like, Roman Reigns, for instance. But they used a cool stunt like that on the women, and hey, I think it fit perfectly with this storyline with these two females. Charlotte and Becky Lynch, that kind of a spot is justified with these two. And it helps tell the story for another match with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, but on top of that, it keeps us intrigued. That's badass. Charlotte Flair took Becky Lynch and she sent her through that. Charlotte Flair also went through the LED board. That's how much steam Charlotte carried. Charlotte actually, when she was getting helped afterwards by referees and the medical staff, suits and ties, whatever the fuck, you could see Charlotte Flair had cuts all up her arm, mostly on her wrist area. And when she saw the blood, she started screaming. I mean, this was a fucking physical, high-octane spot that they put together. And again, Charlotte Flair with the blood down her arm really added to the believability that these two were just going to war with each other. These two really have this fucking disdain for each other. These two really want to be better than the other. Fucking loving this story. So that was awesome. What a way to kick off SmackDown, right? I mean, they just got right into it, championship match. You're thinking, hey, this could be one of the best SmackDowns going, right? Not so fast. I'll get to the negative in a few minutes, though. Again, we're going to continue this positivity train. And that's going into Aiden English, Lana, and Rusev. The continuation of One Night in Milwaukee. And this time, Aiden English plays a little bit more footage. But he says, I'm not going to play the rest if Rusev just comes down here and reunites Rusev Day with me. And kicks Lana to the curb. The curve? The curb. The curve and the curb. Kick Lana somewhere. But Rusev comes out, Lana also comes out, and Lana tells Aiden English, you don't gotta worry about it, you've been hacked. I have the rest of the footage. And Aiden English is like, that's impossible. And Lana's like, is it? It's really not that impossible when your password is I heart Rusev. So Aiden English is a fucking creeper already. I heart Rusev. And then the footage shows that Aiden English went to make a move on Lana, but Lana was like, hell no, like, you got the wrong idea. Like, I was just telling you, I want you to know that we appreciate what you're doing for Rusev. That's all I came to your hotel room to tell you. I didn't know you were going to be without a shirt and singing like a freak into a camera. I'm going to go now. And Aiden English was like, fuck, what did I do? That was the rest of the footage. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I thought this tells the story between Aiden English and Rusev brilliantly. And this is all I ever asked for Rusev. I would rather him a heel. Him and Lana worked awesome as a heel, and I thought when The Rock and him had that beef in Brooklyn, that they could have added to that. I know you probably couldn't get The Rock for more days, but you could have made something out of Rusev after that night. They just give Rusev all of this... this rope and this leeway, and then when he starts to gain traction, they reel him back in. Heel Rusev and heel Lana was the best. But Aiden English and Rusev, I never quite got that team. I never got that concept. And Rusev Day became stale real quickly for me. But seeing Rusev back with Lana as a singles competitor and in a real fucking storyline that I give a fuck about, that is badass. That is all I ask of how you book Rusev. Put him in a meaningful storyline. And the ultimate payoff should be Rusev beating Aiden English. I can speak. If you beat Aiden English after one or two of these fucking matches, you could even have a rematch. So set it up for Crown Jewel, and maybe you have another match fucking closer to Survivor Series or some shit. Set that up. Have Rusev win his first big feud in a long time, because I don't give a fuck about his championship opportunity that he got several months ago. That wasn't a real feud for me. There's been no real feud for Rusev. This is the first one where we really are intrigued by it. Even if it's somewhat for some people. For me, it's a lot, because I'm a big Rusev fan when he's like this. But even if you're not a Rusev fan, you gotta be semi-intrigued to see Rusev finally get his hands on Aiden English. He almost got his hands on him last night. He did for a moment, but when he went to deliver a Machka kick, Aiden English was able to fly underneath the rope, scale up the rampway. But I love what they're doing with Rusev, finally. Just build him by putting him in a meaningful story and let him build his character. Stop fucking taking him back 5 steps every time he tries to gain 6 steps. And there was a third positive last night. That's right. For those positive counters out there. Wow, Beastly, 3 positives. Biz TV. Just seeing AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan across from each other talking about a match. I would have rather preferred this at WrestleMania. Absolutely. But to see these two, it's the first time I really thought to myself, wow, this is actually going to happen underneath the WWE fucking umbrella. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. What the fuck? It's a dream match for me. I hope it ends up being much better than AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura was at WrestleMania and their whole feud. That should have been much better in WWE. New Japan, it was 30 times better. I don't know what the fuck happened in WWE with Styles and Shinsuke, but it did not fucking work. But Styles and Bryan, I don't see any way possible that this isn't going to work. But I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I don't want to jinx that shit. But it was real cool. And the friction that they both had with The Miz was dynamite. And then after AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan kind of totally put their focus on The Miz, and The Miz just snapped. Miz just went off on Daniel Bryan. Then he went off on AJ Styles. He told AJ Styles, the reason you're not the last match in headlining with the championship, if you're looking for a reason, Styles, look in the mirror. He's basically saying you don't have the look, feel, vibe. You don't have what it takes to be the headliner. Those were some scathing words by The Miz. So I thought that was badass as well. Right? It was the first glimpse at Crown Jewel of Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles actually becoming a reality. So you had some good. But the show was based around a whole nother show, wasn't it? The Big Show. I'm going to get into that now. I'm going to get into the negatives. So for those that just stuck around for the positives, golf clap. Nice job, Beastly. Good job, Beastly, on the positives of SmackDown. I'll see you next week, Beastly. Okay, bye-bye. For those of you that are able to take truth and facts, this video is going to continue, but now we're going to fuck this show up. I'm going to start with the Big Show. This whole show was revolved around the return of the Big Show in his big match with Randy Orton. A main event of SmackDown. The main event of SmackDown is Randy Orton versus the Big Show. A heel versus a guy who hasn't been around for fucking years, it seems, because nobody wants him around. Because WWE booked him like a fucking joke and a fucking clown. The best you were ever going to get of the Big Show, Paul White, was when he was the Giant in WCW. Because the second he got to WWE, he became a joke. So the Big Show is going to have his match tonight for the World Cup, the tournament. And I'm thinking, who the fuck cares about a World Cup tournament? They're actually advertising this thing as to find out who the best in the world is. Best in the world at what? Best in pro wrestling? Best at winning tournaments? What best in the what are you talking about? AJ Styles is your champion over on SmackDown. Roman Reigns is your Universal Champion. They're not going to be a part of it. So who are you crowning? If you look at all the winners so far after last night, it's John Cena, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Kurt Angle. The best in the world is all guys from 15 years ago. These are already part-timers or guys on their way out. And that's going to establish who the best in the world is today? Seems like a nostalgia world tour to me. So Randy Orton and Big Show close out SmackDown. I don't even know what the fuck to think on that. I'm like, Randy Orton is being poised as like the favorite, but then there's like these chants for "you still got it" for the Big Show, and I'm like, what are you chanting "you still got it" for? The Big Show can't fly around the ring. He used to be able to actually like move. He doesn't do anything. What does he still have? He still has it. If it is bad booking, then yes, Big Show still has it. This is a 6 to 7 minute match where Big Show gets poked in the eyes and gets an RKO. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton, he celebrates up on the turnbuckle like he's a face. Crowd doesn't really know what to do, so they're just cheering. SmackDown fades to black and goes off the air with Randy Orton acting like a face. After that whole shit we just saw 2 months ago, Hell in a Cell, what was that, a month ago with fucking Jeff Hardy, and him being this ruthless heel. And he's just beating the Big Show, celebrating like a face. SmackDown goes off the air. Just to confuse everybody. Fuck the diehard fan. Let's confuse the fuck out of the casuals, too. As if they're not already confused at life in general. Let's really fuck them up. That's the best you got to close out your show with SmackDown 1000 next week, Crown Jewel coming up in a few weeks, Evolution closing out in a few weeks, Survivor Series next month. And the best you got is we'll bring back Big Show in a 6.5 minute match with Randy Orton for some nonsensical bullshit planned tournament. The World Cup. This is the bullshit cup. I could give 2 shits about this World Cup nonsense. These shows are now being formed around this stupid, nonsensical, planned tournament. Tournaments work in baseball and basketball, fucking football. Pro wrestling, we know it's fucking fixed. Pro wrestling needs feuds and storylines. The actual best taking on the fucking actual best. This tournament is a fucking... It's bullshit. Hardy, Cena, Orton, Angle. What the... I literally went back in time 15 years to find out who the best in the world is today? Because that's what they're dubbing this. This tournament is supposed to find out who the best in the world is what they're saying. I hate tournaments. I cannot stand tournaments. It's not proving anything. It's not showing you who the fucking best is. It's just not. They're planned, obviously. That's what I want to do. The next fucking 8 shows, 10 shows, all the way to Crown Jewel, I just want to watch fucking a fixed tournament. Oh, fuck, man. I hate tournaments. I especially hate them when the Big Show and Randy Orton is qualifying. Woohoo! Randy Orton qualified last night. Woohoo! You were not excited? You didn't have goosebumps when SmackDown went off the air and the Big Show got beat? And Randy Orton was celebrating like he's a face, but he's supposed to be a ruthless heel, but WWE has no logic. They're probably forgetting what the fuck they booked the week before. We're probably the only ones that remember that Orton was even a fucking heel. Oh, another qualifier. Hold on, there was another one. Who the fuck? Oh, Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. I said that when Samoa Joe tapped out the AJ Styles at Super Showdown. Joe was going to be okay if they turn his character into this, like, fucking, this guy who just had enough. He just starts fucking everybody up, and he's going to show everybody he's not the guy who tapped out at Super Showdown. And he's going to rise right back up, and in doing so, he's going to destroy everyone in his path. Randy Orton-esque. Instead, they have Joe take on Hardy for another qualifying match for the World Cup. Woohoo! You're not excited? Hardy wins, Hardy advances, and Samoa Joe loses because he can't even finish the match. His leg is still hurting from Super Showdown. So a guy like Samoa Joe, you could salvage a tap out. It's not the way I would have went at Super Showdown, but you can salvage that. But now he just can't even stand up and can't finish the match against Jeff fucking Hardy. Jeff Hardy actually left the ring and there was this facial expression of disappointment. Like, oh, I would have liked to put more damage on Joe. Joe looked so fucking weak last night. I've never seen Samoa Joe look that weak. The tap out to AJ Styles didn't necessarily make Joe weak. That last night, I don't know what the end game is here. I don't know if they have something huge planned for Samoa Joe and then this will be worth it. But still, I feel like this is killing a piece of Joe bit by beat every time. Beat by beat and bit by bit. Bit by bit and beat by beat. Whatever the fuck. It's taking away from Samoa Joe. Piece by piece. How about we call it that? Every single week that he's looking like a chump, a joke, and a clown. It's what Samoa Joe's looking like. So even if there's some ultimate endgame, my hope is that when that endgame comes and you give Joe this big push, if that is even the case, that it's not too late. That fans aren't already looking at Joe and going, wow, yeah, but at any time he could just cave. He's weak. At any time you could take out his leg and he's done for a month. Because that's what's happening, man. I don't want to see Samoa Joe like that. I can deal with a tap out from time to time. The very best have tapped out at one time or another. Unless you're talking Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13, in the sharpshooter, blood pouring down his face, but he refused to tap out and he passes out. That was badass. But I've seen some of the very best tap out. They got to sometimes. I understand. But not being able to finish the match, you better be careful when you book somebody like that, especially a guy like Joe, because you're treading on very thin water, my friend. You don't want to fuck this guy's career up. What I saw last night, that was fucking tragic. And even more tragic is we have another person for the World Cup now. Jeff Hardy. Woo! Woo! What do you mean you don't have goosebumps? Are you not listening? Jeff Hardy has advanced to a World Cup. What do you mean a World Cup of what? A World Cup of... I don't know. Bullshit. The World Cup of bullshit. AJ Styles took on Shelton Benjamin last night. Another thrilling, riveting match. Shelton Benjamin. They booked him so fucking epically that you want to see him in Styles, right? Oh no, wait, they didn't book Shelton Benjamin epically, did they? Well, BC, that's what they're trying to do now. They're going to try to book Shelton Benjamin. You might want to build his character before you have him going into matches and beating Daniel Bryan like he did last week. And what was the point of that? The very next week, he loses to AJ Styles. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want him going in there and beating AJ Styles, but he shouldn't even be in there with Styles. You have him beat Bryan last week. He goes in this week and loses against Styles. 50-50 booking. Now you guys know what I mean about 50-50 booking and how it destroys characters. It does not build them. You can't possibly build somebody's character and make fans, especially casual fans, go, wow, he's really good. He's badass. It's going to take somebody really special to beat him. You can't do that when they're seeing him win 1 week and lose the next week. Win 1 week, lose 2 weeks. Win 2 weeks, lose 3 weeks. Everybody in WWE seems to be 50-50 booked. And then you wonder why there's no stars being made today. It starts with the littlest things that are actually some of the biggest things, which is building a character. You have to make people look badass, look strong, look unbeatable. Then you wonder why nobody gives a fuck about Shelton Benjamin. Not just because he's got the fucking personality of a bathroom rug. Because you don't book him correctly. He still has talent. He's nothing what he used to be. But he still has some talent. But nobody gives a fuck about Shelton Benjamin. I still can't get over you still got it for the Big Show. What did he still have? I rewatched the fucking match to make sure I didn't miss anything. What does he still have? He can put on his tights, probably barely, and go out to the ring? Paul White, I don't care about. The actual guy behind the character Big Show, he could be a good... Actually, I heard he was an asshole, but maybe he's a good guy now. I don't give a fuck. Maybe he's a real nice person who'll buy you dinner. Who knows? The Big Show character has been booked like absolute shit since almost his arrival. When he came through the ring at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, whatever it was, and he was Paul White, maybe that was his best couple months, his first couple months in WWE. After that, it went downhill. First of all, the name Big Show. Why would you name somebody who should be a fucking freak of nature, a monster, a beast, a Big Show? It makes him sound like a circus. And then you booked him like a circus. And he must have went through 37 heel face turns. He must have done 50-50 booking more than any superstar I could never think of in WWE history. And then you wonder why diehard fans don't give a fuck about the Big Show. Why the fuck should we? WWE never did. But we'll put him in the main event against Randy Orton for some bullshit tournament. I think that was the whole show. I literally just went through the whole show. That was the show. So it had some, like, bright spots, don't get me wrong. Some things that I liked, even enjoyed. But some of these matches and this whole tournament, boggling my fucking mind. Crown Jewel is going to be revolving around this World Cup to decide who the best in the world is. But it's guys from 15 years ago. Hardy, Kurt Angle, John Cena, Randy Orton. Just call it a nostalgia fucking tournament then, man. A World Cup? What are you, a fucking soccer fucking tournament now? Is that what you're trying to be? Is that huge over there in fucking Saudi Arabia? Wherever the fuck this is taking place? The World Cup. Fucking A. This company, man. Just remember this. If you're ever having a bad day and you just feel stupid, right? You're just making bad decisions. You know you're smarter than that, but it's just a bad day. Just remember this. A group of people sat around a table and thought it was a good idea to have Randy Orton and Big Show main event a SmackDown. A week before SmackDown 1000, a few weeks before Evolution and Crown Jewel in Survivor Series lurking next month. Such a big time for the company, and their big main event for SmackDown is a 6.5-minute match with Randy Orton and the Big Show. That was fucking horrible, tragic, immense garbage. If you're ever having a bad day, remember, you're not having a worse day than they had. Because that decision, I don't know if you can top that shit. Oh wait, somebody actually did, didn't they? They thought of the World Cup for WWE. A WWE World Cup! Woo! We're gonna find out who the best in the world is! I can't wait! This is thrilling television! It's a tournament! It's a World Cup! I'm too excited. I gotta go celebrate in the streets of New York City. The Yankees may have lost, but we're still throwing a parade, cause it's World Cup time, baby. There's no funner season in WWE than World Cup season. Fucking A. Amplified, man. I'll check you later.